Today I'm finally upgrading a workbench. So far I've been using this desk, but it's pretty small and hard to move around, and the top is completely shot on this thing. That's why there's an OSB board on top of it. So you'll see what I'm planning in just a second, but for now I wanna clear some of this stuff up because what I'm planning will pretty much take the whole side of this wall, so I wanna make myself some room to work with. So I probably just take some of this stuff outside and yeah, just clear it up. And then what I wanna do is bring the material for the frame in here and run it on a planer and just cut it to somewhat of a rough size, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, so it's been a couple of days and I got the top and the bottom part for the workbench, but she's a little big, so what I want to do now is I want to clear some of this stuff up and basically just lay this thing on the ground, put it on blocks and just cut it to something manageable, because it's way too big for now. I think it's like 2.8 by a little over 2 meters wide, so it's a pretty big sheet. So let's just cut it into pieces. I cut the sheet into 3 pieces and I didn't want to cut them to size right away, as I wanted to cut the top to the frame so it's more accurate. And I also wanted to use the bottom part as a flat surface to build the frame on. So I did the cutting twice kind of unnecessarily, but I think that in the end it was worth it. Okay, so while I'm cutting, let's go over what I'm actually planning to build. I decided to plan ahead a little this time and make a model of the workbench and the table saw stand. It was much easier to build it this way, and I was able to design it to the exact dimensions so that it would fit in my garage perfectly. I used Blender for the model, and it's not really the best program out there for the job, but it's completely free and I already made some projects with it before, so I was kind of familiar with it, and so I just decided to use it. So the whole project will consist of 2 parts, the workbench and the table saw stand with a top that goes up and down so I can make some adjustments. Making this separate has a couple of advantages for me. First, my garage is quite small, and if I had the saw and the workbench integrated, I wouldn't be able to fit the table across my garage, and it's also lighter and easier to move around for me this way. Separate saw stand also gives me some flexibility, as I can have multiple configurations. For example, when cutting long wood, I can set the stand with the workbench as one log piece for support, or for cutting many smaller pieces, I can set it next to the workbench so I have the space for that wood. And I guess there is also a third reason, which is that it's just way easier to build it this way. The downside, I guess, to this is I have to move the stand out every time I want to use the saw, but I would have to do it anyways with my configuration, so I guess it's fine for me. So I started assembly with the lower part. I connected the length stretchers with depth stretchers using screws. I cut out some recesses for the angle brackets for the legs. The brackets weren't completely necessary, but I wanted this workbench to be as sturdy as possible, and I think that it helped it quite a bit, but next time I think I will just use pocket screws instead. After mounting the legs, I cut the floor part to size with cutouts for the legs, and to be honest, well, let's just say I could have done better, but the floor actually fit on the first try, so I guess that's a plus. With the floor in place, I installed the upper length and depth stretchers, and for that I clamped them together to keep them as straight and level as possible, and screwed everything together. I also screwed the stretchers to the legs using angle brackets, just to be sure that they wouldn't fly away when lifting the workbench. With that done, I cut the top to size and mounted it from the bottom using angle brackets so as not to cut holes in it. I was actually quite surprised as to how flat the top turned out, but I guess that's a good thing. And now what's left is just mounting the wheels, and the workbench is done. Now to the table saw stand. I started by cutting the legs to size and cutting a T-channel with the router for a screw to hold the adjustable base to help with the lateral movement. With that done, it was the matter of assembling the shell of the stand. The base will go up and down on screws, and to connect the base with the stand I gouged the space for the nut in the wood. This is something that I would like to improve in the future, but I guess it works for now. I mounted the screws to the base and installed it in the stand. It took a bit of wiggling, but I finally managed to align everything. After assembling everything, I found a small problem. Basically, the legs were too tall, so I shortened them a bit, and that fixed the clearance issue. And with that, the build is done. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and it's certainly a big upgrade for me, and I can't wait to use it in my next projects. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.